Hello, everyone. So, do you remember those small shops we used to have? We still have some of them today as well, where you can step in. For example, this record store here, but you can imagine any other shop as well. And you step in, and there is sometimes a little bit goofy salesperson who asks you a few questions, and then he can recommend you records, pieces of music that you never ever heard of, but they are like instantly becoming your favorites. Raise your hands. You remember these little shops where there are these really super guys? Some of you, yeah, yes. Well, we still have some of them, but they are like fading out. Now we buy online, and we don't go to these small shops. But online retailers, online sales actually still want to have that fabulous customer experience that you can have. So that's a challenge, right? A little over 4 million. So this presentation is supposed to be about 15 minutes. Maybe it's going to be maybe 18, but I try to respect your time. By the time I will finish talking here, a little over 4 million of these recommendations will be generated by the system we built, and I'm going to show you how we did it in the next 15 minutes. And my main point is going to be that it is no longer the privilege of tech giants to have such a system, but you can do it in Hungary with these tools that you just heard about by Bence, for example. Okay, almost there. Okay. So, first of all, what were the business goals? So our client was a global video content streaming company. I'm not at the liberation to disclose its name, but anyway, believe me on this one, it actually happened. So they wanted a traditional reporting system, because everybody wants that. That's like essentials. You can never forget about essentials, even if you deal with like fancy AI stuff, which we do. And we needed to implement this content discovery or recommendation system. The business goal was to have a higher user retention. Users should use and consume more often with increased activity. Even the marketing message that they do have this cutting-edge tool. And of course, all of this leads to one thing, sales, obviously. They wanted to have reports at the fullest granularity, so like actual raw data to the deepest level. And they wanted to have a performance that enables them real-time data manipulation. So they didn't want to wait for like a BI organizational group to create reports for them. They wanted to do it for themselves, and they wanted to do it in real time when they have an idea. Okay. So these were the business goals. Well, that's presented some key challenges for us. And that's why I think that this example is really interesting for you as well. Because what did we have? We had real-time data. So it's a streaming video service, as I just told you. So data is coming in, like from a water hose. It pours on us in real time. It was real big data. No, I'm not joking. It's like real big data. So it was the velocity and the volume, the 2V of the 3Vs, was present. Think of all Europe streaming in most of the European Union's countries, streaming video consumption. So that's like a lot. We needed massive scalability because when there was a huge main title, and it premiered, usually on Sundays, the peak usage was at least 3 times more than the average. And there were some shallow parts also. So that was like a massive scalability that we needed, well, not from second to second, but from hour to hour. Of course, there was machine learning for the recommendation system. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. And one of the main challenges was to become data-driven. You also heard other presentations about this before me. So actually, we didn't only wanted to build up a system that can produce these recommendations and that can give you the reports you want, but we wanted to embed this into the organization. So you heard this, I love this term, this is Belgium beer-based numbers. So instead of this triple B, you actually need to embed this information into the organization. And there were many stakeholders because this was an international project, of course. But enough of this, I think. Okay, maybe not that enough. Let's pop up the hood and see how we did this. Okay, so this is the architecture we built. So, well, I promise you this is the most technical slide I ever have here, so keep with me for a second. So what you can actually see here is, this is the place where data is coming from. We had third-party apps, we had all the endpoints, like you can imagine, mobile phones, tablets, computers, smart TVs, set-top boxes, you name it. And all this data poured into this, well, the green bubbles, which was actually built up in order to be able to manage real-time streaming data. And then we have these two big lanes. The first is the real-time analytics. I'm really glad that someone mentioned Power BI. I think it was Ben said that one of the best because we use that. That's great. The second part was this gray area, which is the traditional data warehouse. I know that everybody is focusing on the machine learning because that's where the sexy stuff happens. That's true. But still, you need the solid basis as well. So never forget about that. And then the end, you have the visualization and the consumption, either self-service or by already prepared dashboards. As you can see, machine learning connects here. So that's where we actually do the black magic, which is not black magic, but actually a lot of maths and matrix factorization and stuff like that, which is updated every week for every user. So mainly that's what creates the recommendations, which of course goes back here and the whole cycle starts again. I know it might sound a little bit complicated. The reason for that is because it is. And if you are really interested in that, just catch up later with us and I can tell you a little bit more. But that's not the point why we are doing this. I think I'm switching it off instead of the next, yes. Everybody is interested about this, so not what's under the hood, but like the real Ferrari. Yes, I think we will a Ferrari. There were two actual data products that came out of this project. This is the first one. I recommend it for you. This is a slide inside, like a slider, a little carousel slider inside the product that offers you, that's not an actual footage, that's from Netflix, of course, and that's just only for demonstration purposes only. So it gives you, every user, 20 recommended items that they should see based on their behavior and on other users' behavior who are similar to you being the user at this time. So there were some business rules, of course, not only machine learning. It should be only visible to logged-in users, and it should it also has some other business rules not listed in here. For example, we never ever recommend adult content for obvious reasons. And the update rules, yes, it must be updated daily. You don't really feel, as of this moment, that it is a very powerful sentence, because for hundreds of thousands of users to create a recommendation with 10 items every day, that's like a lot of math. All right. The other product, I'm doing it, that's going to be my thing for today, is the Because You Watched. It's a different kind of recommendation. The first one was based on your behavior as a user. This one is based on the content that you consume. You can see, for example, a similar idea on Spotify, that's where the image is coming from. That's only for demonstration purposes again. So this is based on what you are actually watching, and we try to find similar content. Similar is a very tricky expression here, what similar is actually, and that's what the machine learning is coming real handy to understand similarities. So it's not like if you watched a drama or a sci-fi, then we're going to recommend you another drama, because like that's easy peasy. That's not what we do, but there are a number of, actually 26 different type of metadata on each and every content, and our recommendation is based on that in this case. Right. So this is all good and well, but what do you need for this, right? So my original message was that you can create this right now in Hungary, not only for the tech giants. What you need is three things, basically. A team. A team, not in a sense of one big family, but in a sense of a diverse team of professionals who has a very diverse knowledge about different topics. Data scientists, data engineer, BI experts, and of course, it's really important, that you need the business people, not just for for having a business sponsor, which is always good to have, but also for having the business insights, because there's no point of crunching data if you don't know the actual end result. So why are you even doing that? Yeah, of course. The next thing, the two of the three, is going to be obviously the tools. As you heard from previous presentations, there are numerous tools available. What I want to highlight, because of course IT tools are obvious, that's needed, that's okay. What I want to highlight is you need statistic and mathematical tools, methodology as well for this, but you also need, for example, that's one of my most dear to my heart, data dictionary. That's not actually a specific tool. That can be an Excel sheet, maybe even I don't know, a piece of paper. You shouldn't quote me on that. But anyway, that's really is a dictionary. It means that you have to know from each data that you collect and analyze, what does it exactly mean? And everybody inside the organization needs to understand the same thing. Quick story, I was at a major telco company. I was asking the marketing manager, how many products you sell? And he said, well, it's easy, 5. I was asking the sales manager, how many products you sell? And says, well, 7,000 some hundred. You know, both were right, of course. But you really need to know when you say that product, what you are really actually talk about. So that's very important. The third thing you need is infrastructure. As you might have guessed from the architecture that this whole thing was cloud-based. The reason for that, because of massive scalability, that's what we needed. And also we needed to act real quick. That was our client's demand. So we choose the cloud infrastructure. That's not a necessity, of course. But it's a necessity to have proper infrastructure in place, especially if you want to deal with a huge amount of data in real time. Right. So my basic message is being that you can do this. So it is kind of sexy and still kind of black magic, but not really. It's feasible, no longer only for the tech giants. And yeah, that's being my message. So I was Zoltán Biczó. Thank you for your attention. I'm working at Stratis company. Hit us up on the usual places. Just write us an email or website or whatever. You can connect us. And thanks again for your attention.